Now then, let's talk about Dr. Helen Webberly. She is a very interesting character. She's had her licence revoked as a doctor after giving puberty blockers to trans children. That happened a while ago, but now she has put a video on social media where she has compared the treatment of trans people to the Holocaust. I just absolutely despair at the absolute. It's just so offensive, it's so ridiculous, it's so over the top, and it's just wrong as well. Let's see what she has said on social media. This is against a backdrop. If you're listening on the radio, let me explain it to you. There's a backdrop of one of the camps that was used, one of the death camps used, I think it's probably Auschwitz, in the Holocaust. This is what Dr. Helen Webberly has had to say.
Ethnic cleansing, that's what this is. Just like wartime, where you had to queue up and prove that you were pure enough to be able to live. And now we have to queue up and have a test to see whether we're female enough to take part in female sports. Absolutely disgusting behaviour.
So that's Dr. Helen Webberly saying that a cheek swab that is needed to test whether someone is actually female or not to take part in female sports, that is akin to the treatment of Jews and many other people as well during the Holocaust. I just despair at the thinking and the warped sense of entitlement that person has to say that against the backdrop of a death camp. She's responded as well to the response to her. This is another video that Dr. Helen Webberly has put out.
Some people are saying that they found the picture of Auschwitz inappropriate. I'll tell you what's inappropriate: the behaviour and the public outcry here on this platform. You see, genocide doesn't start with violence. Genocide starts with segregation, them and us. And then it's discrimination. They are not welcome to be with us. And then it's the tests to see whether they fit with them or us. And then it's state-backed humiliation, extermination, exclusion. That's absolutely atrocious. And if you're one of those people who's currently sitting on the fence, wondering which way your opinions lie, then I urge you to be on the right side of history.
She didn't use the backdrop of Auschwitz for that one. She used poppies as a backdrop as well for that one. I mean, genocide, really? Are we going to bandy around that term in regard to what's happening to trans people? It is just absolutely absurd and deeply offensive. Gary Mond is the chairman of the National Jewish Assembly and joins me now. Gary, where do we even start with this one?
Well, the comparison is so ridiculous that I actually regard it as less serious than when people try to compare what's going on in Gaza with the Holocaust. Because in the latter case, one actually has to make arguments, one has to set out what happened in the Holocaust, one has to set out what's happening in Gaza. There is simply nothing to say. Most people in this country have got opinions about the trans debate, and most people do not believe men should be competing with women in sport. And that is something that means that it's a very clear situation. Here, there's just no comparison with the Holocaust whatsoever. However, and there is a however, one point I would say in this woman's favour is she did actually say that during the war, people actually had to queue up to prove that they were Aryans. And that is true. And it's particularly important that she said that, because many people in our generations who don't actually know too much about the Holocaust should actually learn that you had to prove that you had no Jewish blood if you were to escape persecution and the gas chambers. And on that point, I'm glad she said that.
Okay, I mean, she is essentially using the word genocide to describe what is happening to trans people, or saying that the genocide is going to happen. I mean, the issue of checking whether people are female enough to take part in, quite frankly, a glorified running race or a swim or something like that. I mean, it is just. There's just even the inclusion of the word and the saying that this is a pernicious, repetitive thing, as though somehow trans people are going to be victimised in this way. It's just so offensive, Gary.
It's totally offensive, but it is also utterly ridiculous. And I think most people will see that it's utterly ridiculous. You see, when we talk about Gaza, not everybody's got a strong opinion on Gaza, and they can be influenced. Here, most people have strong opinions about that it is wrong that men compete with women in sport, and therefore they're going to laugh at what she has said.
We've got a message from Robert who says, good morning, Peter. The use of the words fascist and genocide appear to be used at every opportunity by those on the far left. This renders the words common and ineffective in argument over time, effectively neutering them. Holocaust is simply on the list of words to be effectively decriminalised. Keep up the good fight, says Robert. I think I agree with Robert. Do you, Gary?
Yes, absolutely. We're using words like Holocaust, genocide, fascist, Nazi way too loosely, and I think a better education is needed on what those words actually mean. And far too many people don't actually understand what they mean. They just use it because of their children, they've heard it in the playground.